Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. This is Audra Santa. I'm here with DWF Live, and we have a special artist ambassador session today with Rhonda Head. Very excited to be speaking with her. She is the very first opera singer that we've had in these sessions, and she tells some incredible stories about the history, about her community, about her family, in all of her songs, and there's so much meaning behind it. So we're really excited to have her on today. Now with Rhonda, she's going to be coming on live, and know that you can ask her questions. So if you're just joining us for the first time today, if you add any comments in the box there, the comments will come up on the stream and I'll be able to share them with Rhonda. So whether you're watching on Facebook Live, on YouTube, or on Periscope through Twitter, you can comment and we will share those for our artist ambassador as well today. Also know that you're able to share this live stream with others. So if you hit share or host a watch party, you'll be able to get other people in on the live action right now. But the replay will also be available afterwards. So if you are watching this on a replay, a special hello to you, and hope that you are having a fantastic weekend as we head into that time. So I'm going to bring Rhonda in just a moment, but to give you a little bit more about her, Rhonda Head, she's from the Opaskwayak Cree Nation in northern Manitoba, Canada. Rhonda is a mezzo-soprano. She's released 5 albums to date, numerous singles, and is currently working on her 6th album. Rhonda has received 60 nominations in total and won 6 international music awards since she began her music career in 2010. She writes her lyrics in her Indigenous Cree language and composes her melodies based off the landscape in her home reserve of Opaskwayak Cree Nation. So excited to have her on today. So welcome to Rhonda Head.
Hi.
Hi, great to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for interviewing me today.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I love, is that a Pendleton blanket behind you? It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I won that at Apollo. I placed first in a women's traditional special, and I won that as part of my gift.
Oh, wow. It's beautiful. I'm going to put you full screen for a second so we can see it.
Okay.
Oh, that's lovely. Lovely. Gorgeous backdrop. Well, Rhonda, I gave a little bit of an introduction. I'm not sure if you heard, but of course, we're talking about, you've been nominated for multiple awards. You've recorded 5 albums. You have a 6th on the way. Can't wait to hear about what your plans are with your music. But is there anything else you'd like to share with us about who you are, where you're from, or how you started into music?
Okay, well, I grew up in Opaskwayak Cree Nation. This is my home territory. Both my parents grew up here, and I graduated from grade 12 from the University of Winnipeg Collegiate, and I went to school in Toronto. And while there, I decided I was going to go into either one of 3 things, which is dance, voice, or acting. And because I already had some musical background, I took piano when I was younger, and band in junior high. So I thought I would go into music, and that's what I decided to do. I looked for a vocal teacher in Toronto while I was there. Like when I was there, I didn't know a soul, so that's why I thought I'd be a little bit ambitious. When I went there, looked at the phone book. Remember when we had phone books? That phone book was thick. And then when I looked for a music teacher, it was that thick, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I going to choose my teacher? So I went in the middle of that 2-inch frame of musicians in Toronto, and I went into the middle, and my fingers did the walking. I closed my eyes and I went like this on the phone book, and that's who my teacher was. I called him up, and he happened to be in the same neighborhood that I lived in Toronto, which was the Beaches. And you know how Toronto is like a huge city. So I called him up for lessons, and I went to his place for my lesson, and he ended up being a real handsome man that looked like Warren Beatty. So that was a bonus. So it made me work extra hard. but he ended up being an opera singer. He sang with the Toronto Opera Course, and because I was so open to learning whatever, I jumped in, and and the rest is history. And for myself, I say that I didn't go looking for classical music; it found me, because I wasn't really like, it wasn't one of my dreams to become a classical singer when I was like 6 years old. It just like everything that happened just like was meant to be.
Isn't that amazing how it comes together? Because really, as an Indigenous artist, I mean, classical music is a place where we don't hear a lot of Indigenous artists, or a lot of the stories like those that you tell through your music. Doesn't always, we've interviewed many different artist ambassadors and everything from country to folk to, hip hop. So how awesome to bring that voice into the classical world.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and I have the opportunities to sing with the Flin Flon Choir, and we traveled to New York on several occasions. We performed at the Lincoln Center and Carnegie Hall, and we were supposed to actually go perform at Carnegie Hall on April 19, but because of this pandemic going on, it got postponed. So we were given the choice of to go back to New York, or the opportunity to go to New Zealand. And I think I'm going to take the opportunity to go to New Zealand, because I've never been, and I've been to Carnegie Hall already. And that was an amazing experience. And I was the only Indigenous person on a stage. So I always say that I was a peppercorn in a sea of salt.
Well, and I'm sure, if you go to New Zealand, the Maori culture there, I'm sure there would be a new level of connection and people embracing your music and sharing your stories there, especially using the Cree language, because there's a lot of Maori music that's sharing their stories and song in their traditional language. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have adopted family in New Zealand that I met in Australia last summer, and we collaborated when I was one of the headlines at a festival in Australia, and they were there too. So we collaborated, and my finale was "How Great Thou Art," singing it in the Cree language and in the Maori language. It was so beautiful.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, so when I go to New Zealand, I'm going to stay there longer, and I'm going to tour, and I'm going to visit my family, and I can't wait till the world heals.
Rhonda, I'm afraid that if you go down, we might not get you back. Just the way you're talking and the way I feel about it, I'm like, oh, she might go down there and stay quite a while. That happened to me when I went to Australia. I went down and I didn't come back for 10 years. So
I love Australia. It's a great,
yeah.
beautiful
Which
country.
which festival were you performing at there?
It's the Gulf Country Frontier Music Festival. It's in the community of Burketown, Australia,
Okay.
and they had it on their Indigenous sacred land of the salt flats. So I was the first Indigenous person to sing in my language at their festival. So it was quite an honor to be there.
Wow. I just got shivers as you shared that. That's beautiful. Powerful. Yeah. Rhonda, we would love to hear a song of yours if you'd like to share.
Okay, sure. The song I'm gonna share with you is it's called 500 Years, and I wrote it when I was at the Banff Center several years ago. It's the first song that I ever wrote in my life, and it's the first song that I ever composed in my life. And it's about the when first contact of colonialism came, and residential school, and my mom's experience, the missing and murdered Indigenous women, the treaties, the Idle No More movement, and yeah, that's what it's about. That the
Wow.
song wiped me right out. I wrote, you know what? I wrote it in one sitting.
Really?
I walked into my hut in Banff, and something went through me when I walked in. Like an energy went right through me, and I was like, whoa! I thought it was a ghost or something. But when I went into the my hut, there was I just totally absorbed the whole room. My the grand piano was on my right side, and there was a desk in front of me. There was a skylight, so I just totally observed the room, and then I just lied down on the floor, and all of a sudden, all these emotions started coming through me. I was angry. I was sad. I was missing my mom because she passed away in 2010. And like just all these emotions came right through me. And then I just got up and I started writing, and I wrote it in one sitting. And when I
Wow.
was done, I was like so tired. I was crying, and I had to go and have a nap. And I probably slept for like an hour. And then I went back to my hut, and then that's when I wrote the melody for the song.
My goodness. What a story of, for your very first song and to write it like that, it really seems like you're being led to tell these stories. So just like your
Hmm.
fingers doing the walking in the phone book, those things aren't a mistake when they happen like that.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. So the first song is 500 years. I gotta take a sip of water.
All right.
500 years ago, across the sea they came, invaded our land, and took away our home. Mother shared a story. They cut her hair and braid, punished for speaking Cree. Why were they so mean? How do I get over it? 500 years of pain. Past hurts are very haunting. Internalize the pain. The stories make me cry. All people suffered so. Stolen and abused. Genocide was here. Where have they all gone? Our sisters, moms, and friends. 1,200 tools of beauty, each one of them all loved. How do I get over it? 500 years of pain. Past hurts are very haunting. Internalize the pain. Hey, oh, hey, 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 oh, hey, 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 oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. The treaties are not honored, the grass the color green, the rivers are a-flowing. Does this mean anything? 7 generations, they say it takes to heal. To rise above the sadness, move forward as we heal. How do I get over it? One story at a time. The hurt turns into anger. Each story just like mine. A prophecy was spoken. Eagle and condor fly. Side by side together. High up in the sky, our movement changed the world to save our Mother Earth. Our people danced together, each nation joined as one. How do I get over it? You tell me all the time. My wish for all humanity, to love and to be kind. My wish for all humanity, to love and to be kind.
That was beautiful, Rhonda. Thank you. I love that final line. I wish for all humanity to love and to be kind.
Yep, I truly wish that.
Yeah. Again, incredible. Your first song ever. And I'm sure now you've performed that so many different places. Who knew that the very first time you wrote something that it would take on the life that it has now?
Yeah, it was I'm very proud of the song, and no matter which country I'm singing it in, the indigenous people they can relate
Yeah.
to the words. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's similar history across the world, right? So it's yeah, very powerful. Maureen says, bravo. Thanks, Marie.
Hi, Maureen.
If anybody else, if you're there and you put up a comment, I'll share it with Rhonda, of course, so she can also see that you've been watching and that people have enjoyed your music so much, Rhonda. So can you tell me a bit about you? So you did a Banff residency. Did you write other music there, and what was that like?
I've done several Banff residencies, and a lot of amazing music came out there for me when I went there, because all I did was just concentrate on my writing and the melody making. So yeah, I wrote my first and second song there. I'm going to be performing that later on, but my recent residency that I went, I'm dabbling in jazz, the world of jazz, and I wrote a jazz song. I'm not going to be singing it today, but you can stream it on my Spotify. It's doing really well right now. I've got some wonderful rave reviews from jazzcorner.com, and another article that will be coming out is from Inc. 19, and I'm kind of kind of blown away by the song, how well it's doing.
What's it
But one
called?
of my reviews, it's called Played, and it's about a woman who got played by a man, and you know, a lot of us women know know the story.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I just posted it in the comments there to remind people to check it out. Rhonda's jazz song is
Okay.
called
Wonderful.
Played on Spotify. So
That's
mhm.
awesome. So one of the what my first review was from jazzcorner.com, and it's like a huge jazz website, and they're based out of the United States, and they compared my vocals to Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald. So I was like, whoa, are you kidding me? Like, this is my first jazz song that I wrote.
What?
So that's motivating me to, like, I got a whole bunch of lyrics that I'm already ready to make melodies for my next jazz CD. So I'm really excited.
Wow. You know, I've known quite a few classical singers that have transitioned over to jazz. You know, it's just a different type of expression, but the skill that you learn in classical really carries nicely to jazz, and it's such a storytelling. So, yeah. Oh, I love that. I can't wait to hear that. I will definitely after this interview check it out.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it, and I'm excited to go into that genre too, because I feel it. I can feel it like the way I feel classical music.
Awesome. Well, I'll get out my jazz hands for the next interview we do after you release that album. That's exciting. Now, out of your five, so you've released five and you have a sixth that you're working on, which I guess is probably your jazz album then.
Mm-hmm.
And they've won several different awards. And you've been nominated for awards, and that's, you know, the recognition everywhere is that's really incredible. What would you say is your best memory or your that achievement where you felt like, no, this is really hitting home for me?
There's actually more than one. The first, like obviously my first award was pretty exciting, because that was my first inaugural CD, and I got an award for it. So I was like, whoa, it just opened up a whole new door for me of the music world that I had no clue existed. I only made that CD to make my money back. I didn't realize all the benefits are going to come to me. And the second one was when I won Best Indigenous Language CD with Indigenous Music Awards, because that was the first. Actually, it was my third CD that I actually contributed, because I was my first two CDs I was doing like classical music and Cree hymns. So they were all written and composed. So they're like cover songs. But the third one, like I composed my own music, and yeah, and so I won an award, and I composed it in my Indigenous language. So that
Wow.
was really exciting. And then I started submitting my music to the Global Music Awards, where you're competing with musicians from all over the world, and I won two of them. So that was so exciting for me.
That's incredible. Congratulations. And you have quite
Thank
the
you.
story. I mean, you've overcome your own adversity, and you also, as we mentioned before, like your family has a history of being in the residential school system, and then of course for you and your family overcoming the challenges and the intergenerational trauma. Can you tell me about
Yeah, yeah. What For my own experience, like both my parents felt the love of my grandparents from when they were like 1 to 6 years old, and then they got taken away to residential school, and then they got severely abused. But when we came along, we never had that true love, because they got taken away from my parents. So we were born in a time of turmoil, like our generation. We never I'd probably say when I was 30ish, that's when my parents finally told me they loved me, and for them to be comfortable to say it. So it's really sad how what happened to us in not only Canada, but the other Indigenous people around the world who went through colonization. But yeah, we went through that, and I have such a strong family, and we all kept together. We're still close, and I compare us like geese, because when one of us is down and low, and they don't have the energy to fight, one of my siblings will step up to the front and take
yeah.
over. So it's pretty neat how we are as my siblings. I love them very much, and we all overcame. Well, I won't say we're fully healed, but we're still overcoming colonization and the residential school legacy that was imposed on us.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're bringing a lot of healing, not just to yourself and your family, but everyone else who hears your music, especially as you share in Cree. And yeah, it's really powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's takes a lot of energy out of me, and when I create a song, but the results are very rewarding.
I'm really excited about your next song. You have a song called Awaken. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. This song came about when I was going on a spiritual journey. We went on a bus, and went from Winnipeg to Niagara Falls. And on the way there, we stopped in several different First Nation communities, and we all had a ceremony at each community that we stopped in. And I brought this young girl who grew up in the city. She was Indigenous. She grew up in the city all her life and wasn't exposed to ceremony or to the Cree culture or any Indigenous culture. Grew up a city girl. So she came along with me, and I took her under my wing and took care of her. But on the way, I was observing her, how she was reacting to the ceremonies. So I asked her. I said, how are you doing? I said, do you understand what's going on with the ceremonies that are taking place in each community? Because I was watching her, I could just see in her eyes, and when your 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 head is spinning, your mind is spinning, and like they're getting it. So when she told me, she goes, "Yes, I understand," and I believed her, because I was watching her, and I could see she was really getting the ceremonies that we were taking part in, and we were always told that we have blood memory, and that was my proof, because just because she didn't grow up that way, but when she was exposed to it, it brought up that blood memory, and it's, you know, it's in our DNA, and we will never lose that, because once it's exposed to us, we get it, and that's where the song "Awaken" came from. I
Beautiful.
need to drink some water. So it was inspired to me from a youth. This song,
Beautiful.
and I re-recorded it, and I called it the graduation song. So a lot of the universities here in the PA OCN have been using my songs for their graduation march. It's in our blood, our DNA. It bonds our past today, ties to future ways. The connection is strong. Your ancestors would be so proud. They've been waiting for so long. It's time to wake up and be strong. The time is now. Don't be afraid. We've had it all along. Awaken, awaken, awaken. Your ancestors would be so proud. They've been waiting for so long. It's time to wake up and be strong. The time is now. Don't be afraid. We've had it all along. Awaken, awaken, awaken. Through our stories and our songs, ancestors are here. Awaken your soul. Your ancestors would be so proud. They've been waiting for so long. It's time to wake up and be strong. The time is now. Don't be afraid. We've had it all along. Awaken, awaken, awaken.
Lovely. It really feels
Thank
like
you.
graduation song. Like I can see how it would be used that way.
Yeah, it's been used several times here already for University of the North graduation ceremonies, and the graduates are so proud when they're walking up to the podium to get their diplomas and degrees.
I'll bet. That's awesome. It's so beautiful. And it
Thank
really
you.
shows, yeah, like I mean, graduation and getting a diploma or degree is a huge accomplishment. Just like all the music you've written and so many things that take that hard work and perseverance. And not only that, but you've also overcome some of your own challenges, like health challenges, to be able to keep singing.
I have, yeah. I think it was 1993, I was diagnosed with a acoustic neuroma brain tumor. It was 3.2 centimeters, and I had to go through 11 and a half hour surgery to get it removed. And because of the location of the tumor, they didn't take it all out. They left like a little sliver in there, and that took me about almost 2 years to recover from that surgery. And fortunately, it didn't damage my vocal cords, but it did affect my hearing on my right side. I'm totally deaf, and I have some facial paralysis on my face, and balance issues. One of the challenges of a singer is because it affects my memory. So I have to really, really, really like study and go over the songs, and because my memory is affected, my balance is affected, and I have tinnitus 24/7.
Oh,
But we call them the new normal in brain tumor community. And then because they left that little sliver in my head, it grew back bigger in 2000. It grew up to 3.3 centimeters, and then I had to go through another brain tumor surgery. So we call ourselves acoustic neuroma warriors, but the ones that go through it twice, we're called elite warriors.
late warriors.
And I just want to share a story. Like, because I went through this, I didn't tell anyone about my surgeries till after I won my first award, because I didn't want people to feel pity for me or anything. Like, I wanted to be acknowledged for my talent, not because of the hardships that I went through.
Wow. Warrior indeed. What such courage in that. Hmm. And like now, and even knowing that that still affects you, I didn't realize. I mean, I knew your history because you have been fairly open about that journey, but for it to affect, to have ringing in your ears or memory issues, I'm sure that it takes a lot of focus to be able to perform the way you do. So yeah, congratulations on your achievements. It makes they're even more remarkable.
Thank you. It's a lot of hard work and dedication and passion. I think that has a lot to do with it. The
Yeah,
passion for the music.
absolutely.
Mm,
Wow.
yeah.
It's amazing. So what are you up to in this time? I mean, we've been in this quarantine type situation. You're in northern Manitoba right now?
I'm in northern Manitoba. I actually started an online show which is similar to what you're doing. It's called Indigenous Superstars, and I'm going on my fourth week doing this show. And I reached out to the music community, and I've already had interviews with several amazing musicians, and just to get their name out there and their music shared, and just to talk to them, to get to know them a little bit more intimately, and for them to share their story, like like exactly what we're doing here today. And but it's with Indigenous superstar. That's what I'm calling them. Like, I already um, interviewed Desiree Dorian, Gabriel Ayala, Jerry Soretta, and Monday I'm going to be interviewing Delbert Anderson. He's an amazing jazz trumpet from New Mexico. So it has no limits, and I'm going to continue the show when the world heals, and just keep interviewing Indigenous superstars.
Amazing. Well, we'll have to keep an
You.
eye.
Yes, and I always say, because for Indigenous people, we need a platform to show our music, showcase our music, because our stories are very powerful, and our melodies are good. And I always say we're just as good as mainstream musicians, but we need a platform to get out there for more people to hear our music.
Absolutely. And I think that's shows like this at this time, it's so great because people get to know not just your music and your art, but also your stories, and understanding that there's such depth behind what's being created. That's wonderful. I'm going to go check it out. Do I go to your Facebook page then, or where can people come and see these interviews?
It's on my Facebook page. It could just and my Facebook page is open, and it's just goes on my live feed.
Great.
And
Awesome.
I already created the show for Monday, so they could just go onto my Facebook page.
Beautiful. Can't wait. And so what are you working on now? You have an album now. Do you have a plan of when you're going to be releasing next? Or of course tour plans have been put on hold, but
Yeah, the tour plans have been put on hold. I'm gonna be. I have to set aside time to work on my melodies of the lyrics that I've written. Like I said, my song "Play" is doing really well, and I'm really excited to get into that genre. I
Mhm.
also started guitar lessons, so my goal is to master the guitar by the end of the year. I'm going to be playing guitar. I already got invited to go and jam out with other musicians, so I'm really excited about that. One thing I forgot to mention is that I'm going to be collaborating with the amazing Gabriel Ayala from Arizona. He's the only indigenous art classical guitar player with his master's degree. So we're going to be recording classical music in
Oh,
guitar. So that whenever the world heals, that's on in the works, and I'm working on my grant to fund my next CD. So I'm just like really busy. I like to keep, try and keep busy um, artistically and mentally. I'm also taking online workshops and always trying to better myself, marking myself to be better.
wow. Yeah, that's inspiring. Even for me, I know yesterday I had trouble see you have those days I had trouble even getting out of bed and just getting out into the sunshine for a bit. So it's always inspiring to hear. But for those of us who might be struggling at different times and where we don't quite feel that motivation, do you have any wisdom or anything you'd like to share for those going through a hard time?
My my what I would like to share is recharging is important.
Yeah,
It's okay to have some downtime and just to relax and just recharge your body, your mind, but don't stay there. Get
right.
up. One other thing is just do it. And one of the memes I created is follow your heart before your mind changes it.
Wow, I love that quote. I'm going to write that down. Follow your heart before your mind changes it. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Well, with that, Rhonda, you have a final song for us called "I Love You." But tell me about the word that if I was to say it properly.
It's called. I wrote this in my indigenous language. It's called Kasagitin, which means "I love you" in the Cree language.
Beautiful.
Kipitin kasagitin, kipitin kasagitin. Imati siwin kapwe, kageki, kageki. Kipitin kasagitin, kipitin kasagitin. Imati siwin kapwe, kageki, kageki. Can you hear me? I love you. I said, can you hear me? I love you. Life is true forever. Kipiten kasakitin Imate se windapwe Kageki, kageki Kipiten kasakitin Kipiten kasakitin Imate se windapwe Kageki, kageki Can you hear me? I love you. I said, can you hear me? I love you. It's true. Forever. Kipiten kasakitin Kipiten kasakitin Imati siwendapwe Kageki, kageki That's how you do it.
Lovely. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you for having me. It's such a wonderful afternoon here.
It's a nice way to end the week. I've really enjoyed this today. Thank you. Now, where can we find your music? So on Spotify, on all the major streaming services, where else can people follow you?
I'm on Apple Tunes, I'm on Spotify, CD Baby, Amazon. Yeah, all the streaming. You could buy my CDs too, like, but they're re-downloadable. They're all digital.
Great. Well, encourage people to check that out and stay in touch. Let us know when you release that next album. I'm going to head on to a service now so that I could hear played on Spotify and hear the more jazzy side of Rhonda Head.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, you have a wonderful afternoon, and I look forward to staying in touch.
I will. Thank you. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy. We're all in this together, and well, we're going to come out of it together.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. What a great week it's been. Next week, I'm so excited for the Artist Ambassador and DWF live sessions. We actually have Dreezus, a fantastic hip hop artist, on Monday. And then Wednesday, we have a few members of Chani Wenjack's family. Some of his sisters are going to come on, and I'll have the opportunity to speak with them, ask them some questions, to hear some of their personal takes on Chani Wenjack's story. And then on Friday, we have Elder Duke Redbird, who will be sharing some of his teachings, his wisdom, and he just has such a beautiful spirit. And I know that people will be really uplifted by that session. So I encourage you to check those out. Stay in touch, stay healthy, stay safe. Share these sessions so other people can check them out. It'd be great for us to spread this as far and wide, as we'll be continuing this on right till the end of May. Special thanks to RBC Future Launch for funding our Artist Ambassador program and allowing us to be able to shift this program to online sessions in this time of quarantine and not being able to get into the schools. So big thanks to our friends there. Have a great day, have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week.